Good morning. Good morning. I'm honored and privileged to be here delivering this morning's commencement address. But first, I'd like to thank Dr. Mapuri Tangalo for that highly appropriate opening. It's a demonstration of the University of Hawaii system and this campus, University of Hawaii Hilo's commitment to providing education steeped in tradition and culture, while at the same time embracing exploration, discovery, inspiration, enlightenment, and innovation. So thank you. I'd also like to thank the parents who supported your child's educational process. See, because I value education, because I had to pay for my own education. I had very little financial help. I used to drive every day in from Kona, and then drive back to work at the hotels in Waikoloa. And then start the whole process all over again. I did that for 2 years, and I don't wish that upon anybody. I don't wish that upon anybody. So education has a very deep and very meaningful value to me. I graduated from this institution 20 years ago as a 41-year-old adult, a late bloomer. But I am an alumnus, a fellow Vulcan. But I need to confess that I had to go online to confirm what a Vulcan was. I always thought it was a bird. So I Googled it and found out that a Vulcan has its roots in Roman religion and mythology. It's about the fire of volcanoes. So Vulcans are people of the fire, which is a very poetic description for a school mascot and entirely appropriate for the east side of Hawaii Island. But there is also a second kind of Vulcan, and I think it's also pretty cool. See, Vulcans are fictional extraterrestrial humanoid species. The most famous Vulcan is Dr. Spock. Constantly challenged to live by logic and reason. But here's their claim to fame. Vulcans were the first extraterrestrial species to initiate first contact with the humans. Now, that's a pretty cool kind of Vulcan to be. To have your school mascot be the first interplanetary species to initiate contact with humans. To be from another corner of the universe, some distant exoplanet. Now that's just cool to me. So you might be asking why I've been given the privilege to present the address this morning. Quite frankly, it's a question that I've been asking myself too. See, my only claim to any kind of recognition is that I've had the rare opportunity and privilege to learn the art of oceanic wayfinding and navigation. And as an oceanic navigator and captain aboard the sailing canoe Hokulea, I get to practice a form of organic indigenous leadership. So I have a story to share this morning. I'm going to take some time because commencement addresses are supposed to be inspiration. And it's my hope that when I get done speaking this morning, somebody besides the parents and friends in the audience, 20 years from now, will recall my commencement address. You see, I still remember my commencement address from 20 years ago, given by former State Senator Malama Solomon. I can't recall exactly what she said. But I do recall that she was extremely passionate about the story she was sharing. It was about life lessons that she learned from her good friend, Rick Pitino, recently released head coach of the Louisville Cardinal basketball team. So I'll be sure not to mention any names. But I'd like to speak to you about a process I learned as a crew member on board the sailing canoe Hokulea. It's a process, when followed, can take you on a course of your choosing. It's called the wayfinding process. Its application today is not just in learning, or not just in planning a sail to get to a desired destination, but it's about arriving at your life destination. Wherever you determine that to be, it has 6 parts: vision, creating a sail plan, acquiring skills and resources, risking something, changing course and landfall. See, vision is about creating a real picture for what you want in life. It's about having a destination. But it's mostly about imagining and dreaming. You might be asking why it took me 20 years to get my BA. I was 41 when I got my BA. I graduated with my AA in 1977, but it'll take me another 20 years to earn my BA because, quite frankly, I wasn't ready for the commitment to academics. My vision for my future wasn't sharp. It wasn't focused. You see, I didn't have a dream strong enough or a voice loud enough of whom I wanted to be. It was just a quiet whisper in my head saying, I want to be a college graduate and an advocate. You see, visions are dreams in boxes of varying sizes. Some are small and some are big. Mine was too small. A very small dream. And the thing about small boxes, small dreams, is they can fit easily into a bigger box. But a big box, a big dream, can't fit into a small box. So I encourage you, students, graduates, to develop your dreams, your vision, fully until it's the biggest box under the tree. I was also greatly happy because, quite frankly, I didn't like myself. I didn't like who I was. And I tell you something, the person you're with the most in your life is yourself. And if you don't like yourself, then you're always with somebody you don't like. Don't be afraid to change. Embrace it, relish it. To me, developing a vision, a dream, was the hardest part of my 20-year journey to become a college graduate and a navigator. But I got there. But only after I was able to put that small box dream into a bigger box and amplify my vision voice from that quiet whisper of I want to be a college graduate and a navigator to a resounding I want to be a college graduate and a navigator. The second skill, developing a self-plan, requires a map. I love maps. I love to see the islands I'll visit. The most important thing about the self-plan is the destination. Draw a big circle around where you want to end up, and then throw the map away. And draw your own map. Become the map maker, the cartographer for your own life. Don't let anyone tell you what you should be. Don't let others define you. Be responsible for owning your own dream and vision of where you want to arrive at. Be persistent and relentless in working that self-plan so that you arrive at your destination. Acquiring skills and resources, well, that was a challenge for me on my 20-year journey to becoming a graduate and a navigator. It takes good reading, writing, and analytical skills to be a college graduate, and I was hopelessly deficient. However, on board a vessel at sea, there is ample free time, and to occupy myself, I pick up a book and read. I came to learn that I enjoy reading. I like fiction author James Fisher and science author astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. And being a good reader helped me become a good writer. And my writing greatly improved. In my senior year writing intensives, I did really well in every paper I submitted. If they asked me for 3 pages, I give them 6. If they asked me for 6, I give them 12. See, I've been away from school for 18 years, and I had a lot to say. And analytical analysis of putting together a blue ocean sail plan is all about analysis. Analyzing data, evaluating, and putting together a plan that you can execute. Risking something means that the sail plan is only the logical mental step that you need to get to somewhere. But at some point, you need to get into the game. You need to proceed with your life. Each of you today have successfully navigated the first 3 steps of the wayfinding process. Otherwise, you'd not be graduating today. What you are receiving today is your driver's license in life. The diploma you receive today says that you have the skills to begin navigating your life. But it doesn't say that you'll be successful. You look at a diploma, look for the disclaimer that guarantees your success. Doesn't exist. But it says you begin today. In the game of life, I compare myself to a lantern, slow and methodical. But in order for a turtle to move, it has to stick its neck out. There are going to be times in life when you're going to have to stick your neck out. There will be challenges, and instead of hiding in a shell, you'll have to extend your neck and risk. You will make mistakes, guarantee you will make mistakes. But forgive yourself. But be undeterred in getting to that big box dream. Changing course simply means being flexible enough to let yourself plan be dynamic to life's processes. It means don't be so rigid as to let the plan keep you from arriving at your destination. If the wind comes from the wrong direction, then metaphorically tuck away until the wind blows from the right direction. You may have to arrive at another destination along the way, but just look at it like this. It's just another place that you're privileged to visit. Landfall, that's the last skill. And in the wayfinding process, it signals the end of the voyage. But to me, I always looked at it as an opportunity to start a new voyage all over again. There will always be beginnings and ends to all journeys in life. But always, always remember, and this is most important, to thank the people for the honor and privilege to have shared like that life's moment together. Doing this with fighting integrity. You know, I recently participated in a 3-year Malama Honua voyage to sail hopefully around the world, covering 42,000 nautical miles, visiting over 150 ports, with 22 stops in different countries. It was the most ambitious project I ever participated in, and it was definitely a big box dream. The planet is incredibly diverse culturally, environmentally, and politically. As we sail from community to community, country to country, I learned as diverse as the planet is. We humans, we Homo sapiens, are all concerned about the same thing. Our families, our community, our health and well-being, and especially where the next meal is coming from. Humans around the world and around the planet all care about the same thing. And that is an incredibly unifying force for humanity. In 1997, I graduated from UH Hilo, followed by a master's in education in 1999. In 2007, I was initiated in the pole ceremony, a 3,000-year-old tradition in the Caroline Islands, granting individuals entry into the rank of Apollo as oceanic navigators. The ceremony was conducted in Sarawak by my senior mentor, Malvi Island. There were 16 of us, 11 islanders from Sarawak, 5 Hawaiians. I was nervous about the ceremony. As I understood it, we were to be tested about our navigational knowledge in front of the Salawakese community. There was one other co-navigator from another island that accompanied us on the show in Sarawak, and he was asked to provide information about the ceremony and the meaning of Apollo. What he said gave me the confidence that I was ready to participate in the pole and receive Apollo. He said that pole had nothing to do with navigation, nothing at all. He said that pole was about being a light to your community, a resource that the community can count on. And all that is required is your commitment to steward the people, cultural, and natural resources of your island community. I have been a college graduate for 20 years and a pole navigator for 10 years. My last story is a wish for each of you. Now, oftentimes people in Hawaii overuse the cliche about teamwork being like paddling a canoe together. When someone brings that up, I always wonder if the speaker has ever paddled a canoe. It takes a lot of human effort and energy to propel a 400-pound canoe in the ocean. It takes 6 people paddling in unison, synchronized, and applying power to each and every stroke. There are 6 people in the canoe, and the person who sits in the number 1 seat is called a stroker. This person sets the pace. They need to be the hungriest person in the canoe, the one that wants to win the most, the one that is persistent and undeterred, because they sit all alone in the number 1 seat. No one else ahead of them, only blue water. The number 2 sits on the other, paddles on the other side. When the number 1 is on the left, the number 2 is on the right. I tell the number 2 that they are the second stroker on the opposite side. But the most important job of the number 2 seat is to talk to the stroker. Reassure them. Let them know that you're doing an excellent job and that the 5 paddlers behind them has their back. The job of the number 2 seat is to keep the stroker hungry, focused, and in the race. The number 3 sits right in the middle of the canoe. They call the changes. They need to feel the rhythm of the canoe. They need to know the pulse of the canoe. When to pick it up, when to slow it down. And the number 4 is the engine. Their job is to churn water and keep the canoe moving ahead. They sit in the power seat. And I always give the number 5 seat to the person who needs the most encouragement, the one who needs the most help and reassurance. Sitting in the number 5 means that he has 4 other excellent paddlers to follow. 6 paddlers paddling in a canoe together with synchronized energies, extremely, extremely energized. But the most important job is the seat number 6. It's to steer the canoe, to lead the canoe, to navigate the canoe, to pick the course that takes you on the best run. And here's the most important job of the steersman. The job of the steersman is to bring a collective synergy to the vessel. It's about getting 6 different individuals with 6 different aspirations, with 6 different personalities to be one. It is about getting the whole to be greater than the sum of its parts. The steersman is able to focus the energies of the group and head them to the appropriate horizon in positive communication and reinforcement. My wish for the University of Hawaii at Eagle Fall graduating class of 2017 is for each of you, each and every one of you, to be the steersman of your life canoe, to be the navigator, to be the person that synergizes your partners to become collaborators in your life. Each and every one of you have the means for making successful answers. Don't just be an observer in your life. Get in the race of battle and be like those oceanic mariners who sailed these islands, left the safety of distant shores 5,000 years ago, sailed into the Pacific, and discovered the stars. But here's the message. There are only 2 phases in your life. Only 2 phases. First you are here, and then you are not. First you are here, and then you are not. So this morning, on the 16th day of December, I congratulate the fall 2017 graduating class of the University of Hawaii at Hilo. And in the words of our most Vulcan alumnus, Dr. Spock, I salute you as a Vulcan salute. Live long and prosper!